All right, folks, welcome back to the Crisis Report. It is October 2nd, though this one will be entitled for October 1st, 2025. It's called At Any Moment. We got a lot of things going on. I was not feeling real good last night, so I decided to go to bed and do this early, get a good night's sleep, and I feel much better. I'm glad I did. So been burning the candle on both ends. Always promise a crisis report, but sometimes you just got to get rest. So we got a lot of stuff going on with the global Samud flotilla. You got Israel, you got the Middle East, you've got Eastern Europe, drone incursions still going on, and all kinds of stuff like that. So we're going to get right into it. We appreciate you being here. We're brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. They are a gold and silver IRA company. We'll have more on that at the end. This is your crisis report. God bless. Here we go. The United States seems to be sending so many fighter jets to the Middle East that the aerial refueling tankers are only dragging them halfway to their destination, then releasing the jets to continue the journey on their own so they can instantly go back to refuel more jets. ADL has been forced to retire its glossary of extremism after backlash, admitting many of its 1,000 plus entries were outdated and had been intentionally misrepresented and misused. Iran does not waste time. This is a little bit longer one, but this is an important one. Israel is aware of this. During the 12-day conflict, Iran would have over 20,000 missiles with a range to target Israel. Arsenal has been built over 20 years and includes more than 15 different models for ballistic and cruise missiles. But you would hear that only had 2,000 to 3,000 missiles. Information comes from the same guys who told us about Russian missiles in 2022. No way a military industry like Iran's would take 20 years to only produce 2,000 to 3,000 missiles. Talking about a defense industry entirely focused on missiles 3 times larger than North Korea's and one of the biggest missile industries in the world. So where were these? Most of the cruise missiles, around 5,000 to 8,000 missiles, need to be reconditioned every 5 to 8 years. This is likely what Iran has been ramping up at this moment. Large arsenals do not perform these reconditioning cycles, especially when the industry is announcing new missile models. Reconditioning involves replacing the fuel and often explosive payload. Cruise missiles, this process is a bit simpler but also costly. As a result, the fuel that would be used for new models is instead spent reconditioning older missiles in a vast arsenal, the impacts, cost, and the logistics of chemical supplies. Iran cannot prioritize reconditioning cruise missiles because of the ability to cross the Gulf states and reach Israel without being targeted has become limited. Iran is focusing on ballistic missiles, and Israel and the United States are aware of this. In addition to this process, there's another underway, the expansion of rotational silos, which are vital for maintaining Iran's retaliatory capacity. All of this takes time, but Iran is carrying out work at various facilities quickly, monitored by Western satellites. So, the war could happen at any moment, but no one knows exactly when. And basically, it's a post saying that Israel knows that they're recycling all of this stuff and getting them all ready, and they're not going to let them have all the time to do it in the world, like years. And you're probably going to see a redux of the 12-day war here real soon. 300 ICE agents, some rappelling down rooftop of the Chicago building from Black Hawk helicopters, arrested 30 criminal illegal aliens, some Tren de Aragua, and all being harbored by Governor Pritzker. Illinois governor says that troops could be deployed to Chicago as immigration agents are patrolling downtown. Trump's justifying domestic military action tells Pentagon leaders to handle the enemy from within. He said on Tuesday he gave a campaign-style speech to the nation's top military brass, suggesting that the Pentagon was American cities as training grounds for his troops in a remarkable break from decades of precedent that sought to keep politics and the military separate. Global convoy of steadfastness of the global Samud flotilla in numbers 47 civilian vessels, 497 participants from 48 countries, Turkey the largest with 56 volunteers, just 9 participants from the entire Middle East, surprisingly 0 from Egypt, showing a complete lack of interest. Strongest interest comes from Western Europe. Solid Iranian source confirms to me that Russia has been airlifting large quantities of stuff to Iran. Won't comment on this, he said, when asked if it's fighter jets, Su-35, Su-30, MiG-29s. He said, "You think I'm going to answer that?" Anyways, the info is there. There is a rumor with the least credibility that Russia has been sending its own MiG-29s to Iran as part of a temporary lease contract for the delayed delivery of the Su-35s. Recently, a number of Iran's Parliamentary Committee on Foreign Relations revealed that Iran had received MiG-29 fighter jets from Russia as a short-term solution, but it was quickly reprimanded and told to shut up by the Integrity Commission for leaking info. Additionally, a video taken from days ago shows the MiG-29 patrolling the skies of Tehran and lack of clear smoke trail pointing towards its engine being a modern variant. Russia's modern MiG-29s are quite capable. They're on par with the majority of the Israeli Air Force, but they're a significant step up from the Iran's F-14 Tomcats, F-4 Phantoms, and older generation MiGs. Press Secretary Leavitt says that Democrats in Congress have officially shut down the United States government. Republicans will not force American taxpayers to pay for free health care for illegal aliens. America is $37 trillion in debt. Denmark's prime minister says she likes EU's proposed drone wall defense plan, but no matter what kind of capabilities we are able to buy to innovate to build up, there will still be drones coming into Europe. 2-year-old girl, Aryotara Shakya, has been chosen as Nepal's new living virgin goddess, or Kumari, who replaces Trishna Shakya, who has reached puberty and now becomes a mere mortal. Protests in Madagascar continue for the 5th day, with protesters demanding the resignation of Andre Rajoelina. At least 22 deaths have been recorded. French special forces have carried out a boarding operation upon a Russian oil tanker sailing off the coast of France. Chief of Staff of the French Army issues a statement warning of an imminent high-intensity warfare readiness. Chief of Staff of the French Army has issued a public statement indicating a need for readiness for high-intensity warfare as early as tonight. Statement is a part of an effort to prepare the French public for a potential direct military confrontation with the Russian Federation. Close encounter recorded from a Russian Il-38 ASW maritime patrol aircraft and a U.S. F-35 under NATO command somewhere over the Baltics. Quote, "I have spoken to 3 sources as of now. It is not an immediate threat in the Middle East. The recent movement of U.S. assets from the mainland to the Middle East is part of a standard rotation of assets. As we had previously reported, the assets from the Middle East flew back to Europe and then to the mainland. Now a fresh batch has been sent to fill the tanks. Standard procedure, nothing out of the ordinary." IDF is busy intercepting the flotillas. Hamas terrorists have launched multiple rockets towards southern Israel. 5 rockets were launched from the northern Gaza Strip at the coastal city of Ashdod in southern Israel, military says. According to the IDF, 4 of the rockets were intercepted by air defenses and 1 landed in the sea. There are no reports of injuries or damage. Attack comes from amid Yom Kippur. Israeli Navy prepares to intercept the large flotilla attempting to break the Israeli maritime blockade of the Gaza Strip. United States State Department has approved the potential sale of M142 HIMARS, rocket launchers and related equipment to the Australian government for an estimated $705 million. According to a notification from the Defense Security Cooperation Agency, or DSCA, Australia has requested the purchase of 48 HIMARS. Estonia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a warning urging its citizens to immediately leave Belarus and refrain from all non-essential travel to the country. Iran Defense Minister arrived in Ankara. He will meet with the Turkish Defense Minister and other military officials. Live network data shows the partial restoration of internet in Afghanistan amid outcry and a 2-day national telecoms blackout. Incident comes as the Taliban leadership applies new immorality rules on telecom operators. Iran's Supreme National Committee Council directs officials to designate successors to ensure continuity in case of war. French Army Chief warned of imminent high-intensity warfare readiness. Chief of Staff of the French Army has issued a public statement indicating a need for readiness for high-intensity warfare as early as tonight. Statement is part of an effort to prepare the French public for a potential conflict with the Russian Federation. 20,000 North Korean workers are assisting Russia assemble Shahed drones in Tatarstan, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine stated. Reports confirm the arrival of another U.S. Air Force KC-46A Pegasus tanker aircraft Al-Udeid Air Base, Qatar, designating from a stopover in England, marks an incremental escalation in a broader U.S. military buildup in the region following a surge of at least a dozen KC-135 Stratotankers, one prior KC-46A that transited through UK bases like RAF Mildenhall and RAF Prestwick before landing at Al-Udeid October 1st. Reports indicate a major power outage around Chernobyl and Slavyutsk, Ukraine. Those have been since taken care of. According to senior officials, the Trump administration will, for the first time, provide intelligence to Ukraine to support long-range missile strikes against the energy infrastructure within Russia. The president is said to have signed an order instructing the Pentagon and the intelligence agencies to provide the assistance, and he has requested similar support from NATO allies. Furthermore, the U.S. is considering supplying cruise missiles, Tomahawk, Barracuda, and other missiles with a range of approximately 800 kilometers, which would give Kiev capability to strike targets deep within Russian territory. Vice President J.D. Vance said that Democrats in the Senate have shut down the government by demanding hundreds of billions of dollars for medical aid for illegal immigrants. Quote, left-wing Democrats in the Senate shut down the government because we refuse to give them hundreds of billions of dollars for medical benefits for illegal immigrants, Vance told Fox. Senators on Wednesday voted to reject a stopgap Republican funding fix to reopen the U.S. government, dashing hopes of a quick end of the federal shutdown. Meta will begin using people's conversations and its artificial intelligence chatbot to tailor the ads and content that they see on Facebook and Instagram. And Lord knows you don't see too many Facebook and Instagram posts of commercials when you're on there. Hate them. God. Why do people use Facebook and Instagram? I'm serious. Of all the social media, they're the worst. White House plays Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer meme that Trump posted on the Loop in the briefing room. It's one of the sombreros because they're trolling him. Marjorie Taylor Greene says all social media influencers paid by the Israeli government or any foreign government to promote that country's interests must register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA, with the DOJ. Walmart has announced it will remove its all artificial food dyes from its store brand products in line with the MAHA agenda. Kash Patel is ending the bureau ties with the ADL, a relationship originally established under the former director James Comey. Colombia has expelled Israeli diplomats and scrapped its first free trade deal with Israel after Israeli forces intercepted ships from the global Samud flotilla. Federal judge has approved a plan to release 45,000 gallons of radioactive water into the Hudson River. Good luck, New York. 2 Delta planes collided while taxiing at LaGuardia Airport in New York, causing a wing of one aircraft to break off. Protests with thousands marching in Italy, Belgium, France, Germany, Greece, and other countries against Israel's attack on the global Samud flotilla. Zoran Mamdani, leading candidate for New York City mayor, announced he will arrest Netanyahu if he steps into New York. If Netanyahu comes to deliver a speech to the UN General Assembly in New York next year, I will, as mayor, I will move to honor the ICC arrest warrant issued in The Hague against him, just as I would against Putin. Ukraine's energy ministry stated that the power restored at all facilities at Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Ministry added the radiation levels at the site remain normal, limits pose no threat. Russia struck a Ukrainian railways depot in Odessa overnight. Ukraine has received 4 billion euros from the EU in the seventh tranche under the ERA loan, financed by frozen Russian central bank assets, bringing that total to 18.1 billion euros. Dmitry Medvedev said there's a constant drumbeat in Europe about war with Russia within the next 5 years. That's not going to happen because it's against our national interests. Russia doesn't need a war with anyone, least of all frigid old crony Europe. There's nothing in it for us. Europe's economy is weak, dependent on the U.S., and its culture is degenerating into oblivion. Europe is losing its identity, dissolving in a flood of belligerent migrants. Key priority for the Russian people is developing our own country, including rebuilding territories that have been returned to the fold, neither easy nor cheap. Russia has always come to Europe as a liberator, never as an invader. Why won't Europe start a war itself? Here's why. European countries are vulnerable and divided against themselves. They can only pursue their own interests, struggling to stay afloat in today's economic turmoil. They cannot afford a war with Russia. European leaders are pathetic degenerates, unable to shoulder responsibility for any serious undertaking. They lack the strategic thinking, let alone the energy in Russia. It's called passionarity to make successful military decisions. Most Europeans are soft and apathetic. They are unwilling to fight for any common ideals or even their own land. Why is war still possible? The chance of a tragic accident always exists, and hyperactive, trigger-happy lunatics always remain a factor. This kind of conflict has a genuine risk of spiraling into a war with weapons of mass destruction, so we must not let our guard down. Australian company Electro-Optic Systems, or EOS, has introduced its new laser system, Atlas Space Control, designed for detecting, tracking, classifying, and potentially countering satellites. Major incident in Plato, Plato, declared in Manchester, UK, with at least 4 people injured after a man rammed a car into a public and stabbed people outside a synagogue. Suspect has been shot by police. Elon Musk is halfway to becoming the world's first trillionaire. Harvard has hired a drag queen named Lahore Vajistan as a visiting professor. WHO urges ramping up arms race against drug-resistant superbugs. And drones violating the EU aerospace can be destroyed, full stop, according to Macron. We're brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. They are a highly rated gold and silver IRA company. You contact them, use the link in the description, and they set up a meeting with you where you can talk to them about putting your IRA or 401k into gold and silver. As you know, outside, the metals markets are doing very well right now. Other than that, folks, there are other areas in the partnership where you can get some good deals on things like solar generators and stuff. And we are doing this a little bit differently today, so bear with me. I'll have more videos today. Just needed rest. But appreciate you being here, populating Subscribestar and Locals. Join us here as a member. Support the cause. The intel sometimes will get placed off a little bit, but will always flow as long as I got my phone and my fingers. God bless you all, and we will see you on the next one.